I had said I wasn't going to do updates on the Singer Model 27, but there are a couple of things that have come up that I think might be helpful to other people that are grabbing $20 antique machines and working on them. I had poured oil all over it. Before I look into degunking chemicals or special products, just sewing machine oil. Now, one thing, and I'll just give you the major points. The wheel, right now I have the clutch wheel off, but the wheel was moving when the shaft wasn't. So that meant I needed to get the hand wheel off of there and find out why the shaft wasn't moving. So that came off fairly easily, and you can see I can now use Evapo-Rust on this and get that rust off. And that's what I want to talk about right now, the rust. Let me just put that down. This is the front slide plate, and there's the back slide plate with the rust still on it, and there's the difference. Let's get this in the light. That's with Evapo-Rust gel, and you can see quite a difference. Not perfect yet, and the chrome plating or nickel plating is gone, but much better than it was. The same thing I'll do with the needle plate and up here. But here's the good news. All I did was oil it, and this bobbin winder is spinning freely. It's still ugly. It's got rust all over it. I just freed up this part because these take long bobbins. You pull this back, put the long bobbin in. This is on a treadle belt, and this spins, which turns this wheel. And you can see, usually when bobbin winders are frozen, they're a real pain in the neck because they have a few little integrated parts that all need to work smoothly. These old type anyway. This is completely fine. So I did order some Evapo-Rust liquid. It's not here yet. The screw back here takes the bobbin winder off the machine. I will take it right off the machine and put this whole thing in Evapo-Rust liquid. Now, one thing, I have oil all over it. You want to try and get all the oil off before you use the Evapo-Rust. When I did this plate, there was still a little bit of oil on it, and the Evapo-Rust took longer to dry. Now, I may have to take a hammer to the back plate, line up a screwdriver right there, and bang this off. I don't want to damage the plate, and because this is from 1893, I could damage the plate. So I want to do that carefully. I don't have to get that off. I can get the Evapo-Rust gel and treat the plate, and I've had machines where I never got the back plate off. But that's something you can work on a little at a time. For some reason the back plates always stick more. Now, the main problem, here's the faceplate area. Very clean. I haven't done anything to it yet. 1893, very clean. I just took off the presser foot, which is very rusted. This is all surface rust. All of these screws, including, the stitch length knob, all move freely. So there's one problem with this machine. You can see I keep little trays around so I don't lose the screws. This is the faceplate, and it's going to need Evapo-Rust, but I can soak that in the liquid. So there are the things I've taken off of there. But I have figured out what the problem with the machine is, and it's really the shuttle carrier. Everything looks fine, except underneath here, it's very either gunked up or rusted, and that's why the shaft isn't working. So this has taken me about 20 minutes to kind of go over it after I've oiled it and figure out what's not moving. I haven't, other than removable parts, I haven't undone any screws or taken any major parts apart. It's mainly I've been doing the cosmetic things. But let's just tip this over like that. This all, it moves a little bit. The only way for me to free this is going to be to keep rocking this. This is the area that's frozen and keeping everything else from moving. See how it just moves a little but not enough? So this is when people, servicemen, would take a machine like this and put the whole bottom in a couple of inches of kerosene. And the kerosene would clean all of that off. I'm not sure I want to do that. So what I'm going to be using are different cleaning products, including oil and Evaporust, to get this to loosen up. Everything else looks workable. I may have to do a little bit here, but this is really the stitch length thing, and that is moving freely. So it's this one arm. So 15 or 20 minutes and just looking at how the machine works. And the majority of the rust on this machine is surface rust that will come off. Now, it would have been nicer if the decals were better, but I never get that upset about that, because, I mean, the machine's 128 years old, and nothing lasts forever. Some of this gunk may come off of here. I don't know. It's still goldish and not all silvered, so you just never know what environment it's been in. But anyway, so that is an update, but I think it gives you a couple of little clues about the major things to look at when you're looking at one of these machines before you start like taking everything apart. There are screws on the bottom where that rocker arm is that is frozen that I could start taking apart, but I would have to be extremely careful that I know exactly how it's going to go back together. So this is the beginning, and then a more intense taking it apart. You would need a good source of knowledge about how they work and how they go together. Whether it's an email list, whether it's a Singer repairman, whether it's an engineer, you know, someone who can help you put it back together if you can't get it back together. 1893 Singer Model 27.